The sixth stanza of the Lorica attributed to Patrick goes like this. I summon all these powers to protect me against every cruel and wicked powers that stand against me, body and soul, against false prophets' wild words, against dark ways of heathen, against false laws of heretics, against magic and idolatry, against spells of smiths, witches, and wizards, against every false lore that snares body and soul. The first thing to notice is that Patrick, throughout the Lorica, turns to something larger than himself, right? He doesn't summon some personal strength. That's not one of the things that he's listed in any of the previous stanzas, right? I summon my own inner strength to overcome the vast darkness of this world. That's not how the Lorica reads. He's constantly turning to that which is larger than himself, namely, as he told us in the first stanza, the triune God. Right? And then everything kind of within the triune God's dominion, representing the triune God's sovereign power. He turns to that which is beyond himself because he knows what Jude tells us in the book of Jude. Right? He knows that the enemy we face is actually greater than us, but not greater than our Lord. Right? You remember that Jude said of the archangel Gabriel, how Gabriel did not dare rebuke Satan, but rather said, the Lord rebuke you. Right? The angel summon something greater than himself when faced with Satan. Secondly, you should note that Patrick believes in a spiritual, supernatural battle. Right? He lists off all sorts of spiritual foes. Right? He's not so naive as to believe that there is no such thing as the demonic, that there's no such thing as the spiritual, there's no such thing as the soul, and he knows that he must reckon with spiritual forces, that there is such a thing as the battle of the soul. But he is not just asking for a defense for his soul or spirit. He is not a Gnostic. He does not reject the good of the body. He says that he summons all these powers to protect him against every wicked power that is against his body and soul, right? Both the body and the soul. Often when I pray over my church, during the church service, I remind us in my prayer that Jesus Christ is the shepherd of both the body and the spirit, and I make a point to pray for both bodily ailments and spiritual ailments. Right? This is a holistic view of the great battle we have against darkness. That Satan, the accuser, is against both our spiritual good but also our bodily good. And that Christ is Redeemer of both body and spirit. And we should turn to him for both body and spirit. Trust him with both body and with spirit. God bless.